What's up, guys? It's your girl Jade, and I am back with another video. And y'all are gonna hear a lot of clacking because I just got my nails and feet done for my birthday, which is in a couple days. So, see, this is my first time getting acrylics, and oh my god, these are so cute. So thank you to the girl who did my nails. And it was a black. And also shout out to my friend Treasure because she's the one who told me about the girl in the first place. So yeah. Anyway, welcome my untouchables, my queens, kings, princesses, princes, damsels, knights, and everything in between. I hope that you are ready for another fun video today. This is going to get interesting. Make sure you have your snacks because it's going to be a pretty long video today. I will have another video, a gameplay after this. And if you are new to our kingdom, hi, how are you? I hope that you will consider joining us. And for those who aren't new, both need to subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell to stay notified of when I post. Make sure you hit all notifications so that you get all the notifications of every new thing I post. And with that, let's begin. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be reacting to four spooky, scary, creepy stories. Haven't done one of these in a while, so I thought, hey, let's do one. And the person we are going to be reacting to is Wancy Entertainment. So hello, Wancy Entertainment. If you see me reacting to your stuff, hello, how are you? I will make sure to put the link to your channel below. And please do not copyright me because I really love reacting to your content, and I hope that it is okay. So, without further ado, here we go to the first story. We found someone living in our bathroom is the first name of the first story.
This happened to me a couple of years ago.
Oh.
My family and I moved to a new house. It was quite old, and it had been sitting empty for at least 15 years before my family decided to buy it. At first, I was just happy that we had a new house, but after that, I had some weird experiences. My room was right across the bathroom, and at night, I would hear strange noises coming from it. Actually, if you listened more carefully, it sounded like it was coming from the walls. But when I finally got enough courage to walk towards it, the noises always stopped. Not much later, I got used to the sound and eventually stopped being scared of it. But that wasn't a problem compared to other things. My stuff started to go missing, like my clothes, underwear, and even one of my pillows. Sometimes I yelled at my little sister, since she often came into my room. I thought that she probably stole my stuff, but whenever I got mad at her, she said, "Why would I take your underwear? I'm not a thief."
Yeah, see,
Eventually, I couldn't find my stuff.
And
even worse, our food also went missing,
but I know
little by little. My family and I felt uneasy.
Dude, somebody been taking
One night, I was laying in my bed about to go to sleep, and as I rolled over, I saw a figure in front of my door. That sent chills down my spine, so I rubbed my eyes, and it was totally gone. I thought it was just my imagination, but after that, I started receiving little notes on my bedside table when I woke up. Pretty.
Little notes?
I see you. And other weird things were written on it. However, I figured that my sister was trying to scare me, so I just ignored it. And that day became the most terrible memory of my entire life. One day, my dad and I were fixing up the bathroom. Because the entire house was pretty old, we were repairing the inside of the bathroom first. As we were tearing the tiles of the wall, Dad took the huge mirror off, and at that instant, I screamed. There was a little room behind the mirror, and there I found my stuff and even my underwear, along with empty food wrappers. We couldn't believe what we just saw, and Mom immediately called the police. They arrived pretty fast, and when they inspected that tiny room, they found out that there was a man who had been living in it for at least a couple of months. But he was not there, so the police promised that they would search for him outside. After that, we demolished the room, and since I turned 18 years old, I moved to my college nearby and got my own apartment.
So you moved.
Sometimes I go back to my hometown to visit my parents, but never spend the night. I know that the man was still never caught, and I'm always paranoid, wondering if he's still hiding somewhere in our house.
Look, I'd be paranoid too. But I need to say a few things real quick. How in the world, little girl, I need to know, what in God's green earth were you thinking? Why didn't you tell your mama, your daddy, somebody, that you were getting notes on your bedside table? Your underwear is going missing. And you think all this is your sister? Honey, mentally, I think, come on now. And the fact that you moved out and got, your own, you're going to college and you're living on campus, but you still come back but you don't spend the night. I'm trying to figure out, why in the world your parents and your sister did not move out of that house and move into another house? That person could be still living, like she said, she was paranoid that the person could still be living in their house, but in another part of the house. I mean, I would think the exact same thing. Like, why didn't they just move out entirely? I don't understand that. I'm confused, but you know what? It's okay. Anyway, on to the next story. Okay, next story. Horror story about an intruder
This happened to
animated.
me when I was 9 years old. My parents were divorced, so I had to stay with my dad half of the week and with my mom for the other half. It was pretty stressful because I had to move a lot of my things back and forth, and every time they saw each other, they would argue.
Never fun.
Anyway,
to see
on a
your
Thursday,
parents
I
arguing like
arrived
that.
at my parents' house around 10:45 p.m. When
Why
my
does it say
dad dropped me off, I
10:45?
noticed that my mom's car
It said
wasn't there
10:45,
yet,
it said
and her
10:46.
bedroom window was open. But I didn't think much of it
Okay,
at
two
the
issues
time.
already.
I
Mom's car's
started
not
to
there,
make my
but the
way
window's
to the
open.
kitchen because I wanted a
flag number
snack
one.
before going to bed. Then I saw my mom in the kitchen, chopping something. I immediately greeted her, but she didn't respond.
She ain't responding.
I thought she was messing with me or she was sleepwalking because she was
Red button,
already in her pajamas. So I came closer to her. I couldn't see her face because of her long hair, and her skin was much paler than usual.
Wasn't her hair up in a
I
ponytail?
tapped her
Well,
on the
never mind,
shoulder,
never mind.
and she slowly turned around. At that moment, I could definitely see that wasn't my mom. She was grinning from ear
Oh
to ear,
no, who's
and
this
she
crazy
wasn't
lady?
chopping vegetables. She was chopping her own fingers. Blood was dispersed
She's
everywhere.
chopping her fingers?
Screaming, I ran upstairs
Do you
to my
know
room, shut the door, and hid
how
in my
much
closet. However, the
pain
woman followed behind
that
me
is?
quickly, and I could hear my bedroom door open.
Oh no.
Through the crack, I could see that she was holding a
Who is
knife,
this
and her
woman?
hands were gushing
Where
out
did she come
blood.
from?
I quickly locked my closet, but I think that the woman must have heard it. As soon as I locked it, she ran towards the closet. She tried to
locked-
open it,
good job
laughing
locking the
maniacally,
door,
and
but you
soon
made
her
too much
laughter
noise before.
turned to screams.
Oh no.
I thought I was going to die.
Oh, she's
so I
mentally
just sat in the corner and cried. And I started thinking about all my memories with my parents and how much I took our time together for granted. Then, all of a sudden, I heard my mom's car pulling up in the driveway.
Oh, your mommy's
When
home.
Mom came inside, she saw the blood in the kitchen. She panicked and started calling out my name. The woman quickly escaped through the window as soon as she heard my mom's voice.
Although I would have had a weapon with me.
After taking a couple of minutes to gather composure, I ran outside and saw my mom coming up the stairs. I gave her the biggest hug I've ever given and began crying again when she asked me what just happened. After I told her everything, she called the cops and my dad. The cops arrived in less than 5 minutes and my dad came shortly after. They tried looking for the woman, and since she left blood all over the house, they managed to identify her. It turned out that she escaped from a mental facility, then found my mom's house and sneaked in.
Oh, so she escaped.
She was arrested a week later, and she was in jail for a year for breaking into our house and then put back in the mental facility. Well,
and then
I
put her
haven't
back in the
heard
same
from her
mental
since, but I do hope she got the help that she needed.
What? Okay. I have like so much to say on this one. How in the world, first of all, so she escaped, right? Baby girl didn't notice that, first of all, that the woman was a different person entirely. And I know she's only a little girl, but if that was my mama and she didn't respond the first time I called her, I already know something's wrong. But then again, you know, whatever. And then, good thing that she locked the door. But imagine if her mama didn't come to save her. That little girl would have been dead. Third of all, this woman escaped a mental institution. Then y'all gonna arrest the woman and put her back in the same mental institution that she escaped from? What was the point of that? Y'all should have put her in a different mental institution with heavier security so that she can't escape. But y'all put her in the exact same one she was in already. What? Like, I don't understand it. And fourth, you mean to tell me that baby girl and her mama and they didn't move? If a mentally disturbed person found their way into my house and terrorized my child and could have killed her, you don't think I would be moving out of that house? They just stayed there, they cleaned up the mess and stayed there. And they don't think that that woman could escape the mental institution again? Like, hello? What is wrong with y'all? Earth to people. Like, I don't understand that. Y'all some interesting folk. Because had it been me, hunty, let me tell you. Had it been me, I'm moving out that house. Me, my daughter, I'm moving to another house, far away. Never again. I cannot. I'm sorry if I'm smacking y'all. These are really good skins. On to the next story. I'm tired of this.
It was 15 years ago. When I was 11 years old, I used to live with my uncle, who was 31 years old at the time. He took me away from my family, telling them how great I would be if I stayed with him in his farmhouse.
31?
Well, he actually had a really nice farmhouse. However, that was totally fake. He also had a big van that he used to kidnap kids in.
I'm
He
sorry.
usually abducted lost kids, or the kids who were playing in the parks.
So he took you from your family.
He was such a serious kidnapper and murderer. While he was tying up the children after the kidnapping,
he
ordered me
children?
to dig a hole for each one.
What is with people?
Of course, I didn't want to do that.
And he would make you
I was just
holes.
horrified and scared of my uncle. One day, I stayed with the kids inside the basement to monitor them. Crying, they were begging to let them go.
Oh, they're crying.
I could see that some of the kids were almost the same age as my age.
No duh, they were
So
about your
I
age.
untied
Just
them
kidnapping
and let
them
them
for
sneak
parts?
out by the back door so my
Or if
uncle
they're
couldn't
lost,
see
you
them.
just kidnap him?
He was in the kitchen
you
sharpening
helped
his
them escape.
knives.
Well, that's good.
I returned to the kitchen acting like nothing happened. But somehow, when he lifted his head, he noticed through the window that they were running away.
And got caught.
He got mad, grabbed his gun, and then he ran out the door trying to shoot them.
He gonna shoot them? No.
I immediately ran with him, watching them and hoping that they could manage it. And all of the kids succeeded to run away, fortunately.
Oh, they got away.
I could see that one of them even waved to me to say goodbye.
Oh, and she waved.
My
back.
uncle
She's like,
told me not
"Thank
to worry,
you."
and that he'd get more kids the next morning. It seemed like that he was thinking that I was the one who was disappointed about the kids' escape, or whatever. The next morning, I woke up and figured out that he was not there.
And now he's gone.
And all of a sudden,
Where is he
I heard
at?
a loud siren, and soon after, the police entered inside the farmhouse. They found me and asked me if I was
so
one
the
of those
cops
kids who
found
was
the little
kidnapped
boy.
by him. I
They thought
couldn't
he was
lie to him.
kidnapped too.
I always felt sorry for lots of
that's how
kids
it
who
is,
got
your uncle.
kidnapped by him. So I told them that I was his nephew, and they took me with them for questioning. I was crying so badly when I confessed the truth about him to the police. It was the hardest moment that I had to give proof of my uncle's serious
I bet
crime,
you feel bad.
because I loved him
bet you
anyway,
do.
whether he's a criminal or
You
not.
love him. I know you do.
But I
like,
knew this day would come, and
the-
actually, I was waiting for it.
Okay.
They didn't believe me at first,
it happened.
but I revealed the location of the
They
holes to
didn't
them.
believe him. He'd been living
After
with his
digging,
uncle
the
for how
police
long?
found bodies under the
Oh
ground.
my God! They found all the bodies of the other people.
At that time, my uncle got back to my mother's house, hugged her, and begged to stay for a while.
He went to the.
However,
he
the
went to his
police had
sister's
already
house,
told her about the incident
Possibly.
and what had happened to me.
AKA
So she
little boy's
told him he
mama.
could stay,
She
but
let
as
him in
soon
the
as he got
house.
to the bathroom to shower, she alerted Dad and they called the police.
Good. Mommy and
My
Dad
uncle
called.
was arrested finally,
Good.
and the police thanked me and told me that I was such a brave kid.
They talking about he a brave little
They
boy.
brought me back to my
You've
parents,
been sitting here
and
with
I could have a better
not
life
this
with them.
knowledge for how long?
My uncle was charged with kidnapping, murdering kids, and even showing me
Yeah,
such terrible
murder,
things that kids should not
kidnapping.
see.
Child endangerment.
He was condemned to death, and not long
They
after,
condemned him for the death penalty.
finally hanged.
Wow, they hung him. That is insane. What state or place was this? I do want to know. I'm low-key curious. I want to know where this was at. This reminded me of Criminal Minds just now. But I'm still concerned. How the heck? I understand he was terrified of his uncle and he was scared. But like, what? I get it, you know, I mean, he's scared of his uncle, he's scared his uncle's gonna do something to him. But he's been doing this how long? And you've been seeing him kidnapping and killing kids that are around your age. And you didn't think to call the cops or run away to a neighbor's house or anything like that. I mean, yeah, you helped the kids escape. Good. But you're still you could be considered an accessory because you technically helped him bury the bodies. He coerced you in doing it, sure, yeah, but you didn't bother telling anybody about this or anything that entire time. And again, I understand you're a child, you could have been scared. But if I see my uncle doing something like that, and I know it's wrong, I'm gonna have to be a big girl and tell somebody what's going on. Like, what the I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand the logic of some of these stories. This is the third one, and I'm already like, What? Never mind. Final story. Okay, this is the last story. And it says, if she asks you a question, this one question, always answer no.
Ah! What a pleasant way to begin my 3 a.m. shift
actor.
at Mercy Hospital. The first thing I did as I sat down was cut my finger. It was a
Ooh,
paper
cut your
cut.
finger.
And despite working at one of the
Paper
largest hospitals in the state, I couldn't find a single band-aid laying
Hospital, why
around.
does
I
it
sucked
sound
on my
bad?
index finger like a vampire while I scrambled my desk for that band-aid. I found one. Purple. I'm a hospital receptionist,
that's my favorite
and all that
color.
means is I greet visitors, make appointments, and look nice. Well, as nice as a 30-year-old man who hasn't slept in hours can look. That night, as we call it, it was just me and a few nurses on the floor. Other than that, it was ghost quiet, except for the heavy rain. I sat back on the cheap recliner chair all receptionists get the honour of using. While adjusting my band-aid,
boy.
I listened to the television mounted on the corner of the ceiling as it broadcasted a seemingly important message.
Authorities say the woman was last seen on Cedar Avenue.
I looked up to see if the television was showing any images of this strange woman. None. It was yet another crazy person with no name and no face who we were supposed to look out for.
And
Not
we don't
creepy
know
at
what
all.
she looks like.
Authorities
Okay.
also say the woman was reportedly walking around and asking people very, very bizarre questions.
I focused back on my desk and continued working, but I still listened as the news anchor went on and on.
You're still
She
listening.
continued.
The following statement was issued by an unidentified government official.
Listen carefully, folks. Whatever she asks you, answer no. Do not, under any circumstances,
I mean, I
answer
feel like
yes.
this is very
Officials
key
won't comment
information,
further as
and
to
the fact that
why,
he's
citing
not-
security clearance.
I
Please
mean,
are
he's
asking that you
listening, but
immediately
he's not
call
listening
911 if
fully.
you deem anyone
Is an issue
suspicious.
to me.
I thought that part of the coverage was quite odd, but I wasn't sure anything could scare me anymore. Working here at the hospital, I thought I'd seen it all. At the flash of the ruby red ambulance lights, I've seen people come in with severed arms, legs, fingers, people who somehow managed to scoop out
How
their
do people
eyes, failed suicide
accidentally scoop
attempts,
your eyes
and
out? I don't
much
understand.
more. You get
How do
used
you
to it. My
accidentally
head was
scoop an eye
practically
out?
sunk into my desk as I filled out paperwork. That's when I heard something very subtle initially. I heard it coming from the front doors, the entrance. The automatic doors
so the
opened
doors
and
are
closed,
opening and
opened
closing?
and closed, slamming against each other and sounding
Maybe
an
it's the
obnoxiously loud
sensor.
thud each time. The very dim lighting I had surrounding my desk flickered
Maybe the sensor
incessantly.
messed up because
Hello?
of the
I
rain.
called out, seated behind the safety of my desk. Only the whistling wind responded. Hello? I called out again. I felt obligated to check if someone was there, especially since it might have been
That's
someone
a
who was
little
injured
creepy.
and needed our attention. I reluctantly picked myself up from my chair and walked over to inspect. I nearly
Okay,
slipped
going
and
to
cracked
check
my
it
head
out.
open
I
as the
mean,
entrance floor was almost
ooh.
flooded from the rain. I noticed footsteps,
cracked your skull open.
wet shoe marks that seemed to
I'm
come
sorry,
inside the
footprints
hospital
coming
and then
in and out.
back out. I stood near the doors,
Of the
poking my head outside, and looked.
What?
All I heard was the distant sounds of sirens and honking cars. The rain poured harder. The peace and quiet was disturbed
And
within
then nobody
moments of me
there.
sitting back down. The automatic door started again, opening
And
and
then it's
closing,
doing it again.
slamming shut, and letting in more rain as they did. But this time,
Oh.
I heard gentle footsteps make their way towards me, tapping closer and closer. Someone slowly emerged from the darkness
So,
between the entrance and front
who
desk.
is
A
this
woman
person?
with drenched black hair approached,
You know,
wearing a dark
she,
brown raincoat
she
and a
looking
pair
a
of
little
boots that were too
mysterious.
large for her toothpick legs. Her face was
shoes are
inundated
too
with wrinkles
big.
and wet makeup. Her black eyeshadow smudged.
Oh no, I
Despite
don't
the
like
heavy
the way
rain
she's looking
outside,
at me.
she didn't seem to have bothered wearing her hoodie. Hello, how can I help you, ma'am? She didn't respond. She looked around, scanning and observing an unimpressive hospital. Is there something I can help you with?
wrong with this
Still
lady?
nothing. We engaged in a brief stare down, which she won. I
That's
looked down
a
and pretended to
little
gather
bit
important
creepy.
paperwork.
Like, if you
Are
gonna
you
stare
here
me
to visit
down,
someone?
honey,
Then finally, she responded.
do I need to
without
call
talking.
somebody for
She
you?
simply nodded and then took a few steps forward, her hands hanging down her side. Her posture was unnatural, almost uncomfortable.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I would
for now I need
immediately
you to
think
sign
something's wrong
here,
and need to
then
call
you'll
the
have to wait a
cops,
few
like-
hours for visiting time to begin, I said, pushing forward a sheet of paper and a pen. She raised her arm to sign and then abruptly stopped. She seemed startled by something
Why
on
is
the
she giving
desk.
that look?
She looked at me, tilted her head and, with a smile that was as wide as her eyes, said, "Would you please move that for me?" I was confused at first,
Move what?
and then she pointed at it with her index finger. As drops of rainwater tapped
Oh
against
yeah,
my
see
desk
now
while
this
her
is an
arm hovered
issue.
over
You want me
it.
to
I took the little
move
crucifix we had at the
my
front desk
cross?
and put it in a drawer. The woman proceeded
And you
as if she
actually
was
gonna
going to
move
finally
it?
sign the paper and then stop before writing anything. She dropped the pen on the ground and stood there again, staring at me. She asked me a question.
Do you reject the Trinity?
"I'm sorry?" I replied.
Do you
For a few
reject
more
the
uncomfortable
Trinity?
moments, the
What
woman
type
stood
of
there
creepy
like an
mess?
ancient statue. I had no idea what she meant by the question. "Ma'am, who exactly
No,
are you
no,
here
no,
to
no,
see?
no, no.
Family,
What?
friend?
What?
What's your relationship with the patient?"
That has
Before I could
demon
finish
all
talking midway
over
through my
it.
question, the woman turned around and walked out the door. still smiling and her eyes as wide as I'd ever seen on a person. I went back to work and tried to move on, but her creepy
No.
mannerisms were trapped in my mind throughout the night.
That's
At around 4
terrifying.
a.m. I spotted one of the children
First
in
of
our
all,
hospital
if
walking
she
down the hall.
left-
Nina, is that you?
Oh, look at the
I
little
called
girl.
out. All the kids in the hospital knew
She
me.
looks
I was
scared.
proudly considered one of the cooler employees. I let them break the rules. I brought them snacks and stairs
Aw.
and even told them scary stories, despite their predictable regret
No,
later on.
pink-haired
The
girl in
nurses
the
would
back
get
look
angry with me
mad.
every time I heard one of my scary
Yeah,
story
she's
nights.
like, you
We
giving
always
me
had a
extra
bunch
work
of
to
bed
do. I
sheets
gotta
to
clean
change
all
the
this.
next
You do
morning.
realize that,
I only
right?
did these things for the kids when I wasn't busy. It was a quiet night.
But he seems
and
like a
this
real
was one of
sweet
those
guy to be doing
uneventful
this for
nights,
these
which
kids.
of course was a good thing.
But
Anyway,
that
it was
lady is
very odd to
creepy.
see
I
Nina
would
awake
be
at that
making
time,
sure
walking
that she
down those
actually
shadowy
for real
halls.
left.
She was absolutely
'Cause I
terrified
don't
of
think
the
she
dad,
left.
and yet there she was. Nina, is that
She
you?
seemed too
I
creepy
squinted
for
my
that.
eyes as I walked towards her.
Sorry, Matt.
She began.
I don't want to be there anymore.
She had dragged her blue blanket along with her, which was her way of gesturing to us that she wanted to move to another room.
wanna
The
change
other kids
rooms?
bothering you again? I asked. I took hold of her hand and
Okay.
began walking her back to the elevator.
Matt, please don't make me go back up there. I don't like the new nurse.
I stopped walking. What? I said, kneeling to
I'm
Nina's
sorry,
level.
new
She
nurse.
keeps asking us the
What
same
new
question
nurse?
over and over. I said no so many times. I keep telling her no, but everyone else kept laughing with her and saying
my
yes
God,
to her.
the lady
Please, I don't want to go
went
back up.
upstairs.
Nina's words immediately played
Everybody
flashbacks
else
inside my tired,
said
overworked
yes
mind. Something
and
about a
started
strange woman
acting
going
weird.
around and asking even
She
stranger
said
questions.
no, and that's what
I
saved
didn't pay
her.
enough attention to that broadcast to notice the woman, but even if I had, I thought she had left the hospital. I ditched the
Oh,
elevator and ran up a
my
flight of
God, you better
daunting
run a
stairs,
little quicker.
stomping against each
I
step
look
with
like
all
you
the
ain't got
force
no
I could
shoes on.
muster. I probably woke up all those sleeping employees.
Never
I was so loud. I opened the door to the children's
Yeah,
room
I'd
and
be
couldn't
waking
believe
them
my
up. I'd be
eyes.
screaming
I checked
and
each
yelling.
room, each one on each floor. I woke up
Oh
my
my
co-worker
God, all the
nurse and
kids are
asked about the
gone.
children. She couldn't find them either. We looked everywhere and
Stop
put the hospital in
playing. Are
lockdown.
they really?
We set off all possible alarms and other emergency procedures. We didn't find them. All that was left behind were their clothes.
Their clothes. Y'all, that one has got to be the creepiest one out of all of them. How the heck? See, what saved that other little girl's life is the fact that she didn't say yes. Otherwise, she would have been right there along with all her little friends. They all said yes to her question. And they disappeared, and all you see is their clothes. But the little girl, she kept saying no, no, no. If I were the person, I would have called the cops first. Because that lady was suspicious from the get-go. I would have called the cops. Then I would have been like, you know, looking to make sure that she actually left. See, what his problem was, he wasn't very thorough. He didn't look to make sure the lady actually left. And I wouldn't have taken my cross off the table. If you don't like the fact that I have my cross on the table, well, you just gonna have to deal with it, lady. Like, what? I cannot believe that. So this crazy psycho lady even took all these kids. I would, let's see, no. Couldn't be me. That lady's just demeanor, the way she looked. When she said reject the Trinity, I knew she was talking about something demonic. Because ain't nobody gonna say something like that unless they're talking about something demonic. And when she made that face and was looking at the cross like that, I knew it. I could not work in a hospital because I don't like being around blood and stuff anyway. But that just made me not even want to consider it ever. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed this adventure of us watching four scary stories. In all of these stories that have in common, I just want to know what was going through y'all's minds. Y'all were not thinking logically here, and I do understand that 3 of the 4 were kids, but at the same time, y'all don't have common sense. I This is why when I have kids, I'm gonna make sure stranger danger, they're gonna be drilled to be not paranoid, but they're gonna be drilled to, know how to escape. They're gonna know. I'm giving them real life lessons because y'all gonna need to know what to do if a stranger or a person or someone mentally unstable comes around you. You're gonna need to know what to do. Like, I don't. This one has me just, wow. I'm just shook. No. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this, go on ahead and leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and if you want to consider joining our kingdom, comment down below what you thought of these stories. What would you do in these scenarios? And I will see you guys in my next video. And let me know if you want to see more of this.